Welcome to BalletWise. My name is Michael Wise. I am your host and creator. Now, today I've been bombarded with a bunch of different questions, and a lot of them are the same. Am I ready to audition? Am I ready for a company? I want to be in a company, but are there a lot of people out there that just don't know? Well, I've had the opportunities. I've spoken with artistic directors. I have spoken with other colleagues of mine. And I think I've got a pretty good idea of how I can help you or anyone else that's about starting to get ready for audition season. I realize we're still in the summer, but the difference is you got to start planning now. And remember, auditions are more than just what you do in that room. You got to think of it with strategy, like it's a chess game. We'll go more into that. First things first, we need to do a little bit of housekeeping. All right, I'm not a medical professional. I don't play one on television. I'm basically an individual that has had a long career. I'm the first American to have ever been a principal dancer in the Soviet Union. I have danced all over Europe, and I have danced in the United States. I have been in big companies. I have been in little companies. I have been in mid-sized companies. So I feel like I have the expertise to kind of guide people into how and what needs to be done for them to move forward in their careers. I've over the years helped multitudes of people kind of take that next step or help get them to the point where they can take that next step. But it's a mental game as well as a physical game. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get straight to it. So one of the big question, am I ready to audition for a company? There's an easy answer to that. Go do an audition. But when you do, don't think I'm going to get the job. Don't walk in there going, I'm auditioning for this company. I'm auditioning for this job. No, this is reconnaissance. Look at it from that point of view of I'm going to get information. I'm going to see where I stand. I want to compare myself to others and see the reaction of the individuals within that company, because that's going to tell you an awful lot. Now, everyone who is interested either in a professional career or going to a professional school, or whether you're just trying to get into any school, you may actually have to audition. And there are a multitude of things, and they're all the same, that you have to think about going into all of those. Have you done the research on what the company is? Do you know what kind of dancers they have? Do you know, is it a tall company? Is it a short company? Is it a company that focuses predominantly on classical? Or is it very eclectic and they do a big mix of contemporary as well as traditional classical and neoclassical? That's just a very small component. So step one, know who you're auditioning for. You need to know, are you the type of dancer, or is that just something you want to be that type of dancer? Remember, companies aren't there to make you the dancer. The companies are there to hire you because you're ready to do the work. Now, the next thing, let's say you've done your research, you've got these 5 companies, they look perfect. The next thing you need to know is there's no perfect company. There are always problems. I don't care how wonderful the people are. I don't care how amazing the company is. You're always going to find something you don't like. And you need to be aware of that, because I've seen people get into companies and then 1 or 2 small things happen that make them uncomfortable. And immediately they're ready to bail. And that's a great way to get a reputation that you're not going to ever be able to get rid of. Companies don't want dancers that can't hang through the tough times. So now that you know who the companies are, now that you know who their staff is, what kind of company it is, whether it's short, whether it's tall, whether it's classical, neoclassical, contemporary, but you've already figured out what you're looking for. Then the next thing you have to do is figure out what you truly want. Just because a company looks really, really interesting, ooh, I'd like to do that. But have you taken the time to go, what do I really want? I know multitudes of dancers that desperately just want to be a classical dancer, but their strengths are in the contemporary world. And I know that can be very difficult to come to terms with. So just be aware that, yes, we want to be very well rounded, but you also have to know where your strengths lie. Just because your passion is over here, you want to do Capella, or you want to do Le Corsaire, or Flames of Paris, or any of those, or Swan Lake, you have to be honest with yourself. Am I designed to do those ballets? Or is it better for me to go look at a company like Complexions, very complicated choreography, very interesting styles of music, very different ways of moving? That is still a balletic company, but they do non-traditional choreography. So that's something that you have to know before you walk into that audition. Now, let's say you think you're ready, you've picked out your places. Okay, best thing for you to do is go find a company you're not interested in at all and go audition for them. Pick the company you have no interest in whatsoever. And you plan on going there and not getting a job. If they offer you a job, well, that's up for you for consideration. But go and do an audition where there are no stakes in the game. It gives you the opportunity to see what you're capable of doing, what they're going to be asking for, what the environment is like. Those are really important things that you have to pay attention to. But it's always better to do it in a situation where you have nothing to gain or lose. I know these are things that you probably have never heard. Everyone's saying, no, you need to go audition for this company. You'd be perfect for it. That's not the company you should go do your first audition with. Go do your first audition with a company that you know you have no interest in. None. Because then you won't have the stress or the worry. You're walking in, I got this. All right? So let's say you've already done your first audition. You've gotten your information. You're ready for the real thing. Don't go in with desperation. Directors are not there to take you and build you into the dancer you want to be. Directors are there to find the right person for the job they have open. You could be the absolute best dancer in the room and you don't get the job. That's a fact. I've multiple times gone and auditioned and I was by far the best dancer in the room. They even said it. And then they say, unfortunately, we just don't have a position for you. We don't need a dancer like you right now. And then they take the girl in the corner, the one that kind of blends in with the wall, because they need somebody to blend in to be in the corps de ballet. That always happens. So you need to temper your expectations, and you need to temper what is going to cause you to freak out. So going in, quite often in auditions, depending on the size, depending on the company, they might do 1 to 2 cuts. So you might go in and you might do bar and they do their first cut. Okay? Now, I'm going to use this as an example. Let's say you get cut. That does not mean you're a horrible person. That does not mean you're an undesirable person. What that means is you're not the right fit for that company right now. Now, you need to understand what, based off of what you saw around you and based off the people that stayed, you might be able to deduce whether you need more time in school, you need more confidence, you need more passion, but there's something that isn't allowing you to be ready for that stage. Okay, but then there's part two. Let's say you make it through that first round. Good for you. That means they did not see anything that tells them no. It's not good. It's not bad. It just means there was not something distinctly separating you out. Now that's when it happens. So bar is over and they're going to have you come into center. And quite often they'll do a reduced center and then they will do a second cut. If you're going into a more eclectic company, they might quite often have a third cut, which would be after a contemporary section. So you've made it all the way through class, and then you hear this. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed what you were doing. We've got your information. If we need you, we will let you know. In this industry, we don't have the right as dancers to pester an employer whether we got the job or not. The way you need to look at it is this. If you do not hear from them within 48 hours, you probably didn't get the job. Don't be sitting by the phone. Don't be waiting for that email. Understand that you did your best, and that's all you can do. It is up to individuals that you or I or anyone else you know have any control over the situation. Quite often, after an audition, they will video certain individuals. They will compare them to other individuals they've seen in other auditions. They will compare them to existing company members. And then quite often, they will pick based off of the needs of the company. So if they're looking for someone that could be a future soloist, they will have specific things they are looking for. If they are looking for somebody just to do corps de ballet work, they will have specific things they are looking for that. No one is looking for a principal. So don't go in there with these dreams of I'm going to be the greatest prima ballerina that ever existed, and today is the day. It doesn't work that way. Also be aware that some companies prefer dancers that are a little bit older because they understand that they're going to be a little bit more responsible. So if you're a college student and you've just graduated from an excellent program, I'm not telling you not to go audition, but you need to be aware that there are going to be some companies that will be more welcoming and some companies that will literally just push you aside. The ballet world has always been considered a very young art form. A lot of companies in the past want to pick up dancers when they're basically 18, 19, and 20. Because, and you've all heard it just as much as I have, we only promote from within. If you want to get into the company, you got to go through our program. So I've seen brilliant dancers who really, 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 really want to get in this specific company. They'll go and do the audition and then they get an offer to be a trainee. Should you take it or should you not? Because quite often the trainees or whatever they want to call them, apprentices, that's basically unpaid free labor. You're going to get a lot of work. They're going to test you to your limits. You are going to be taking regular classes. You're going to probably be learning all these different types. So it can be a great opportunity. But you have to know where you stand. Are you in the top part of the apprentices When you dance, are you physically and emotionally and passionately capable to excel above all others? And that is not a wish. You can't just walk into a company and go, God, I really wish I could be better than that person. No, you need to be the kind of person that walks in going, all right, who are the best ones? All right, that's where I got to go. And you do it. You've got to have that almost killer instinct. It doesn't mean you treat others like garbage or you basically beleaguer others, by no means. But when you are there to do your job is to do it so well that you rise above others, not because you're interfering with others. And we all know those people. We've been in school with them. We've worked with them. We've been in companies with them. That they believe they can succeed by devaluing everyone else around them. Companies will fire that person the first opportunity they get. And if they don't, it's because they fit the job they want them to do. Not in personality, but because they're going to probably be stuck in the court of ballet for the rest of their lives. Now, I realize that there are exceptions to the rule. Trust me, I've met many principal dancers that are just jerks. And I've also met some that are some of my best friends. So you need to be aware that you're going to find all types of people in all different positions. But be very aware that you don't want to be that person. We earn our positions in companies. We don't just expect it for them to be handed, or we don't wait for someone else's misfortune. You need to be aware that a company is made up of individuals that have to be as the most functional, dysfunctional family possible. And you're going to find people you're going to get along with and people you're not going to get along with. And you need to be aware of this. But let's go back a little bit. You're going and doing these auditions. You know about the company. You're interested in the company. You've gotten some good feedback. What do you do now? Nothing. You wait. The best thing for you to do is keep training, keep building, finding more interest for yourself, opening yourself, allowing passion to be integrated within the great technique that you have, because you might get the call and you might not. And then what's the next thing you do? You look for the next opportunity to go audition for another company. Be aware that you might go audition for 10, 15, 20 companies and not get one callback. But I have on good word from some of the artistic directors that I know that the worst thing you can do out of desperation is take a contract with these very small companies that are very dysfunctional. Now, we've already, in my previous video, I spoke about this. I spoke about the design and the makeup of some of these small companies and the problems that are in them. I know directors that flat out will not hire you if you have been in them. Because those companies quite often have a tendency to rob you of confidence, of your technique, of your passion. So when you go, they'll see on your resume that you've been dancing professionally, you've done all these great things. They may not know the company, but there are a lot of companies, and it's not uncommon. But then you show up and you're not ready. You would have been closer to being ready before you went into that small company than you will be coming out of it. It is very frustrating for a lot of these people, especially the ones that do run very good small companies or run mid-sized companies that are well run. It's very frustrating for them to have an audition and have people show up that can't hit a fifth position, Their rear ends are 18 feet behind them, and they're just throwing themselves. And then they have this look on their face like, pick me, pick me. That's desperation. But then there's the flip side. There are those dancers that, you've graduated from school, you've been doing the audition circuit, you've been getting really, really great training, and you know what? You finally go to that one audition. The class is great, everything's falling into your favor, and you know what? You might get an offer. But you want to know what they see in you? They see someone that has a purpose, has passion for what they're doing, and has the technique to back it up. We've all heard that phrase of, you're writing a check that you can't fill. I use that all the time in the ballet world. When you have somebody with just the right amount of bravado, they just have a swagger about them. And then they fall out of everything. You can't take those people in a company. But when you have somebody that's got just a little bit of that swagger, who's confident in their capabilities, that can show their passion in their movement, and their technique is at a level where they can write a check and cash it. It doesn't mean 14 pirouettes. It means they're doing 3 pirouettes perfectly and stopping on half toe. That's the difference. You have to know that about yourself. And the only way we learn to find that confidence, to understand where we are, is we just go and audition. But we never walk into that room expecting something to be given to us. If I walk into that room and I'm going to do that audition, you know what? I'm just going to go in there to try to be the best dancer I can be. I'm just going to take a deep breath and go, all right, here we go. And just go in there. I'm going to plow my own path. And that is one of the reasons why companies will look and go, you know what? I like that kid. Because you're giving them confidence that they could hire you and you could step out on that stage and you'll do your job. The ballet world is very passionate. We're all very passionate. Directors are passionate. Dancers are all passionate. But when it comes down to picking people for a company, it's a business. You have roles that have to be filled. Now let's look on the other side of things. You've done all these auditions, but every time you do an audition, you look around the room and all you see are these amazing dancers and you feel like you just don't have it. And what I'm going to say to you right now, you're probably not going to like. Because if you feel like you don't have it, you don't have it. Doesn't mean you can't fix it, but you've got something to work on. It could be confidence. It could be putting passion into your movement. It could be technical. It could be all of the above. One of the hardest things for anyone to see is that young lady or that young man who is a diehard when it comes to ballet. They have the most incredible work ethic. And then you realize that they can't dance. They don't have a sense of rhythm. They have this awkward movement quality. And they just look like they're just chucking themselves. But you can see the passion. There are always going to be individuals that want this and will never obtain it. Because there also, I've seen individuals that should be able to obtain it. They've got everything, but they don't want it. So it's two sides of one coin. Neither one is good. The ones that actually make it are the ones that are confident in what they can do because they have a little bit of that bravado. Not when they're not dancing, but when they're dancing. They have passion in their movement, and it radiates through their entire body. That includes their face. Oh, it's one of my big pet peeves. I can get on people in class. I'm asking them to show me their passion. I'm asking them to I'll give a combination that's very dancey, and then I see passion radiate through their entire body and stop right here. The only reason why I'm going to pay attention that you actually have passion in your movement is because I can see it on your face. You could have the most glorious arms and articulation in your feet and your legs. You can feel like somebody's almost punching you in the gut. You're feeling it so deeply, but if your face is shut down, you're nothing but a zombie. But those, not the zombie, but the qualities of that passion, the qualities that are in your movement are what tell the companies you're ready or you're not. This applies to all of them. It doesn't matter whether you're a contemporary dancer. It doesn't matter whether you're a strictly classical dancer. It doesn't matter even if you're a jazz dancer. If you're going to an audition for a contemporary company, they want to see the rawness, your passion, your belief in what you're doing. But if you're knocking people over on either side of you, they're not going to take you. They're looking for team players. They're looking for someone that can work within a unit. So, are you ready for an audition? Are you ready to do the work? Something that you may not be thinking about. Remember going back to when I said that you need to just go audition for the sake of auditioning? That has a benefit beyond what it does to you, because you might start getting noticed. Think of it as a chess game, not checkers. Think of it as that there's strategy, not just, okay, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to knock it out of the park. Companies are always in flux. You might go to one audition with one company that you really don't care about, and you got on one person's radar. Well, 2 years later, guess what? That person now works in a different company. And you show up for that audition, and he's going to go, wait, I know that girl, or I know that boy. You've already got you're already one up in everybody else in that room. And even better if they can go, oh, I know that girl. Yeah, I remember she was good. Oh, wow, she's really improved. That says something as well. Remember, we're not here to be mannequins that do ballet. We are here to be dancers, where we marry the chaotic with that discipline. Companies are looking for that, but be aware there are far more dancers than there are positions in companies. There are companies out there that you almost feel like for a position to come open, someone's got to die. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but it's true. There are those companies in the United States that you're lucky if they have 1 or 2 positions open a year, and they're an 80-member company. But you know what it tells you about that company? They must know what they're doing, because people don't want to leave. But when you look at companies and it's like every year they replace their entire company, that's usually a signal that you don't want to go there. Because that tells you that it's probably not a good environment. It tells you that probably the dancers are losing their technique. It's a catastrophe. Now, there are excellent companies that are out there that may have a decent amount of turnover, but usually they're going to be in a smaller company. But you need to look and see, do they have members that have been there for 3 seasons, 4 seasons? Or is it every person or almost every person gets replaced every year? And I'm not referring to looking at the roster and figuring out. You're going to have to do research. Another great tool that you might actually have when it comes to doing your auditioning is, do you know anyone who's ever auditioned for them before? Ask questions. Do you know somebody that might be taking in their school? Do you know anyone that has a connection with that company? Ask questions. What are they like? What are they looking for? What are the kinds of dancers they normally have? There's nothing wrong with being the person in the room that has the most information. Now, I realize I've been a little bit all over the place because there's just so much that goes into doing these. Company auditions are designed to find the right dancer for the job that is open. That is critical for you to understand. So don't go into an audition and get upset because they picked the girl that wasn't the best, or picked the boy that you feel like probably had no business even being in the room. You don't know what they're looking for. Do you have any idea how specific a lot of companies will get? Companies, when they audition for people, okay, you might want to sit down for this one. It even comes down to hair color. Ooh, yeah, she'd look good in the court of ballet. She's blonde. Or, ooh, how tall is she? Yeah, that's about right. Has nothing to do with her dancing. You know, there's the guy in the corner. Not very good dancer. Kind of boring. But he's an amazing partner. Yep, he's the one that got the job. Why? Because he's going to be in the court of ballet and he's going to have to partner a bunch of different people. And if he's a good partner, we can work with him. See, do you see that there are specific jobs that have to be filled within the company? You're not going to pick the dancer to be in the company that doesn't fit the role that needs to be filled. Once again, if I'm looking for a court of ballet dancer, she has got to not stand out. She has got to fit the mold. If you pick the girl that constantly stands out and you put them in the court of ballet, you know what happens? The court of ballet stops functioning because everyone's going to be staring at that one individual. So you need to understand your place. You need to know when I need to just move or when I need to dance. And it's good for you to have the ability to turn it on and off. Some companies, their number one goal, just hire the best dancers they can. They don't have a specific role or a specific idea. They pick the best dancer for the company. And there are others that are looking for a specific type, a specific kind of person, a look, a skin tone. Yeah. I've seen some companies that, because most of the company has either pale or they are actually darker skinned, they will continue to hire dancers that match the right skin tones. Is that right or wrong? I personally believe it's wrong, but the difference is you have a picture you're having to draw with these dancers. And if they don't look right, it's a problem. Now, smaller companies quite often don't have the ability to pick or choose. They're always looking for the best dancer they can get. Mid-sized companies, well, they do quite often have to pick people up to fill certain roles. You've got big companies, and you can be guaranteed they're looking for people to fill very specific roles. So you've got to do the homework. You've got to get the ideas together. Everything from your practice auditions that you're going to go out to dealing with the rejection, because it's not you, or at least we hope it's not. But if you're going to be one of those catty dancers that feels like they have to make everyone else miserable for them to be good, well, then, yeah, you're probably glad you didn't get picked. But you have all of that. You've got all the research that you have to do to know these companies. You've got to reach out to friends and family members and other people that may know something about these companies. And don't disregard old information. Remember, any information is better than no information. A lot of this is very specific for each individual, and I have tried to give you so much information in a very broad spectrum. And normally when I do this when I work with another dancer directly, we go through this individually. So we know exactly how this applies to them. So I don't want you to look at everything that I've said and go, oh, I need to do all these things. No, I'm giving you a generalization. Because one size doesn't fit all. If you come to me and let's say you're a dancer that's 5'3", a little bit of a stockier build, but man, you're a powerhouse. I'm going to have a very specific design for how you're going to reach your goal. But if you walk in here and I start working with you, and let's say you're 5'9", 5'10", with legs that start at your neck, I'm going to have an entirely different path and a direction for you. Because we are, as individuals, we have different needs. But when our needs are being met, those companies' needs are going to be met. So be aware that the information that I've given you today is a very broad spectrum of all the things you have to think about. Test auditioning, research of companies, dealing with the rejection and knowing that it's not personal, continuous training, nonstop, keep going, keep going, keep going. So you did this today, do another one and better the next day. And then just keep your eye out. Audition, audition, audition. Be aware that some small companies are not a good place. But also know that there are some small companies that are a good place. There are mid-sized companies that are awesome. And some mid-sized places that are the most toxic environment on the planet. There are big companies out there all over the world that aren't very well run. That actually, they don't provide for their dancers very well. But the reason why they function is because they have a name. So you have to pay attention to all of this. And it's a lot. And it's almost impossible for one person to keep all of that in their head. That's why it's so important that you have somebody on your side, somebody that can help guide you, somebody that you can go to at any time and go, what now? Anybody that I've ever trained that goes off to an audition, when they come back, we debrief. So how was it? What was it like? What did they do? What were the other dancers in the room like? What were the combinations like? What did they look like? What were their facial expressions? Because there's always value in knowing and dealing with that information. Based off of that, I'm going to go, all right, let's look and see what's next. Ooh, might be a good one for you. Not because I think you belong in this company, but it'll be a real challenge. So you might end up going and doing an audition with a company that is completely different technically than you are. And that's a great thing for you to go through and understand, because most companies are not going to be set up the way you think they should be. Most companies aren't going to train you the exact same way you've been training throughout school or college or wherever you've been. So find your mentor, find someone you can talk to. If you don't have someone like that, you know, leave me a comment. Maybe I can help. Reach out to us. You don't have to do this by yourself. And that's really important. But you also have to be aware that there is no magic carpet, there is no drink you can drink that's going to solve the problems. Because once again, you could be the best dancer in that room and you're still not going to get the job because they weren't looking for it. I don't know how many thousands of times I've heard, "Oh my God, you're amazing. We want to keep your name on file. Unfortunately, we just don't have anything for you." I literally feel like I need to have a t-shirt with that written on it because I've heard it so many times. I've even had to say that to some people. So be aware they're not doing this out of malice. They're doing this because they have a job to do and they have to fill the positions. So going back to what I said earlier, find your mentor, talk to someone, show them that you're willing to do the work, show them that you have the information, come to them with that information. Show them that these are the companies you've looked at and you know all this information about them. And this place has got really tall dancers and this place has got short dancers and this place has got a little of everything. Prove to that person that you've done the work and then ask them to help you figure out what's next. Show them that you are that interested, but the person you go to has to feel valued to be able to help. If that's not available to you, like I said, leave us a comment. Maybe you can reach out to us and we'll see if we can give you some good guidance. That would be more specifically towards you. Sometimes it's a great way for you to get us your stories, which then allow us to present your story in a very novel way, which allow us to then help others understand what you're going through and how others can avoid maybe some of the mistakes that unfortunately have been made. Now, I know this is kind of like one of these touchy subjects. We all have to go through it. No one likes it. It's not fun. Trust me, there's not a person on the planet that goes, "Woo, I got to go audition." It doesn't work that way. It's like, great, I got to go audition this weekend. Yep, flying out probably Sunday. I've got the auditions, I think, is on Monday. I've got another one lined up on Tuesday. Then there's another one that I'm thinking I might actually do on Thursday. If you haven't heard that, you might be in the wrong place because that's the normal conversation when it comes to audition season. Whether you're trying to get into that next school, whether you are trying to get into your first company, whether you're already in a company and you're trying to go somewhere else. That's the normal conversation when you go, "Hey, what are you doing this week?" "Oh, yeah, I'm busy. I'm auditioning. I'm going to be in New York next week. I'm going to be I think I've got an audition in Atlanta 4 days later. Oh, yeah. And then on a week later, I'm in LA because I've got another audition I've got to go to." That doesn't mean you're always flying out. You could be driving to all those places. That's just as bad, if not worse. So be aware that this is a big deal and it covers a lot. So don't be scared. Have a purpose, have a focus, and remember, if you can't find someone to have these conversations with, reach out. Leave a comment and let us know. If need be, eventually we can actually possibly even talk to you and we can try to use your story and try to find the right way to get you where you need to go. So, once again, my name is Michael Wise, and hopefully this has given you an idea, maybe answered some of your questions, and hopefully we'll be able to continue the conversation and move forward. Once again, I'm not a medical professional. All I do is I try to help. So there'll be more. Trust me. There are going to be new topics, and all we need for you to do is like what you're listening to and subscribe, because that allows us to know that what we're doing is valued. Because there's so many people out there that want this career and want to be that kind of dancer. And if they don't have that person that's guiding them, they're just walking through a minefield. One wrong step can just blow you up. And always keep that in mind. Guidance is always important. So hopefully this has helped. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Bye-bye.